Recording in progress.
Welcome to the speaking test. Now we shall begin.
This is the first question. I'll ask you. What is your favorite subject?
So, with myself, I've always been truly passionate about languages. So, one of my most favorite subject would be English. English as a global language, it allows me to connect with individuals from diverse cultures and backgrounds, and that's why it is my most preferred subject.
Okay, what do you find most challenging in your studies?
Well, for the most part, I would say it is the workload. I mean, there are so many assignments and homeworks, and we as students always under a lot of pressure from deadlines. But, on the other hand, it's worse than my resilience, and I'm getting used to it now.
So, what major will you study in university?
So I haven't made up my mind about which major I'll choose when getting university yet. Well, but I don't consider myself as a person who have a head for figures, so I'm taking into account the social science majors.
Okay, now we move to part 2. Here is the card for you. Describe a period of time in your studies that was the most difficult for you. And here are some suggested questions. Now, I shall give you time to prepare and we'll answer this later.
Okay.
Cách đoạn này. Mày chuẩn bị chưa?
Chưa mẹ.
Okay, then I'll wait. Xong rồi mình edit được mà.
Yeah, thế ta sẽ làm 1 phút giống như bài thi.
Okay.
Ờ, cần phải mình có cần phải cho chỗ mà thích nốt vào không hả mày?
Là như nào?
Ý là cái đoạn mà tao thích nốt cần phải cho không hay là mình cắt đi được?
Cắt đi em mẹ bình thường.
Ờ. Mày ơi, thích nốt iPad hay là mình có mấy phút, mày 1 phút à?
1 phút được không? 1 phút xong rồi nói
Chôn
2
chôn
phút à?
chôn Việt Nam. Nói mấy phút à mày?
Hình như nói khoảng 2 phút à? Hình như
Ok. Ok. Giờ tao nói luôn à mày? So, when talking about the toughest period I faced during my studies, it must have been the time when I was preparing for the exams to get into the national team for the excellent students. So, the reason why it was difficult because the huge pressure and the expectations associated with the exams. Its result will determine whether or not I will have an opportunity to compete in the national exam or not. It was, to be honest, extremely intense, with countless students trying to have, a position in the official team. So during that time, I dedicated long hours to self-studying in the evenings and weekends while attending a school during the day. So to overcome my difficulties, I would try, I tried various strategies such as um, asking for guidance from my teachers or forming study groups with my classmates to help each other out. And I also practiced the past exam papers to become familiar with upcoming exams. So in the end, it was kind of regretful because I couldn't make it into the official team, but rather the reserve team. But however, I am grateful for that period when I look back because it taught me how to thrive when facing tough challenges, and those skills I have continued to help me throughout my academic journey. So, yeah.
Time for part
Mày
3.
ơi, part
Ơi,
3. Không, không, nãy tao bị mất tiếng. Được rồi mẹ.
okay. What sorry. How are education priorities today different from those in the past?
So, in a such ever-changing world we are in today, education priorities have transformed as well. So, in our current society, education opens more, opportunities for a wider skill set that were not offered in the past. For example, classes nowadays occur in, the micro teaching form, which focuses on proactivity of the students and also the teamwork skill.
So, what problems are there in school curriculum today?
So, one of the main problems I noticed is that in many countries nowadays, the curriculum are overburdened and imbalanced. New content is added over time without making spaces, and this leaves too many time for the development of the foundational skills such as literacy or numeracy and social emotional skills.
So, how well do you think schools prepare young people for working life?
So, for me, school plays a pivotal role in an individual's development. This is where we learn almost everything, like from crafts, starting from the basics such as reading and writing. And before we turn into adults, we enter adulthood. This is the place where we'll get the most out of it, out of our training. So therefore, school should be the avenue to prepare us to enter the another chapter of our life, the working life. So schools must extend this training by educating people and guiding the young people to the future career.
Thank you. That's the end of the IELTS speaking exam.
Okay. So welcome to the IELTS speaking test. I am your examiner. So are you ready?
Yes.
So here will come the part one. So the first question, what is your favorite subject?
To be honest, even though my major at high school, during high school is English, my favorite subject is actually mathematics. Even though I don't actually excel in these subjects, it's still my favorite subject so far. The reason for this is pretty simple. It's not because I find like problem solving during solving the math problems interesting or something. It's just because of the satisfactions that every time I get to solve a problem makes me like engaged in this subjects a lot.
So what do you find most challenging in your study?
For me, I think the most challenging part when it comes to study is the distractions, which I think is the pretty common challenge for anyone else too. The distractions keeps driving me to lose my focus when I study. There are many sources of distractions that may come from many factors, including the notifications from my phone or the ambient sounds or noises outside. Even though I know it's important not to get distracted by those frivolous factors, I just can't help myself sometimes.
So what major will you study in university?
Apparently, I'm still a bit indecisive, not knowing exactly what major I should choose in university. For me, there are still many options available until now, but I can't imagine myself choosing any of those and further pursuing these professions. But potentially and hopefully in the future, I may choose a major that suits me well and inspires me to further develop my career prospects.
So that is the end of part one. So part two, you will have to describe a period of time in your studies that was the most difficult for you. So, chuẩn bị chưa rồi nào?
Tới rồi mẹ.
Ok, thì nói luôn nha. Ok.
Today I would like to talk about nghe cringe vai. For me, the period of time during my starting journey that I find the most challenging was the time when I was practicing and preparing for the high school entrance exam. The result of that exam would determine the school and the major that I desired. Therefore, like shaping my future. And the reason why it was so stressful for me was because the competitions was really intense with countless students from different areas, district, and the city, all applying for limited spots in a very prestigious school, and the fear of disappointing my own family and most importantly myself added to the stress and the anxiety that I always held at the time. And during that time, I dedicated long hours to self-study as well as taking extra classes to prepare myself to the fullest so that I can, overcome the exam with the most desirable results. I remembered taking at least 4 extra classes the whole week and having to having to miss a lot of opportunities to hang out with my friends just because I needed to focus on this exam a lot. And even though it was a long and hard journey, I still overcame it. And now I'm very happy and grateful because I had the chance to study in my dream school. Despite the fact that my memories of this place are not very fond to admit.
Okay, thank you. So here we go to part three. What are the educational priorities today different from those in the past?
Personally, I think educational priorities today differ from those in the past in many ways. For example, in the past, the main core was on mesmerizations and rote learning. However, the emphasis of today's education is now creativity and critical thinking, along with problem-solving skills. Therefore, there have been many classes that apply the micro teaching method, and it is believed that teaching these skills by this method to students would be a better preparations for them to face the reality of the future life.
Okay. So what problems are there in school's curriculum today?
I think there are still many challenges and problems in our school curriculum nowadays, and one of those is the fact that the curriculum is not usually aligned to the practical skills in life, such as a problem solving, communication, or collaborations. Many educators still follow the same old path that is already out of date, considering the modern era we're living in. And not all students' needs and abilities are taken into account, leading to some students falling behind, while some are getting bored at classes because they are above. And this also like caused the feeling of disengaged in class, because many of them still have to complete amount of assignments with little little effective, which demotivate them like immensely.
So here will be the last question. How well do you think schools should prepare young people for working life?
In my opinion, school plays a critical role in preparing young people for the workforce, and they should aim to equip students with necessary skill, and knowledge to succeed in working life. However, most most educational curriculum now are still traditional, focusing mostly on academics and knowledge-based learning, which are not very practical in the real life, and it may not be sufficient for the students to meet up to the demands of the modern workplace if they attend one in the future. Therefore, I think that like school should offer a curriculum that is actually relevant to the needs of the employment market, such as the internships and so on. And most importantly, I think that schools should also update their syllabus regularly so that their student would be able to have access to a more practical and more helpful curriculum so that they can further develop for the future market.
Thank you. This is the end of the test.